Joe?
Question for Tito and Rashad. Can you talk about the difference between this fight here and the last one? Rashad, you mentioned that when you were competing at that time, you're like, oh my God, I'm fighting Tito Ortiz, but sort of roles are reversed. You're saying Tito's saying that.
Yeah, I mean, when I had to fight Tito the first time, I was very young and impressionable at the time, and it's one of those growing pains in the sport. Fighting somebody like Tito Ortiz, legend in the sport at the time, and still is. It was very hard for me to kind of, realize what was happening, and then the fight's over. I'm like, man, I could have really fought this guy and did a lot better. But those days are over. I'm one of the bigger guys in the organization now, and I know what I can do, and I'm very confident in my abilities.
Well, it's nice to hear his confidence in his abilities that he believes in, and of course, my confidence is through the roof. My abilities was where I always wanted to be, before my surgery, and now my surgery's done. It's been a year and a half, and I'm very confident, as I say. You say, what's the difference between before and now? I'm a different person. Mentally, physically, emotionally, everything I've always wanted to be in for the UFC. Having Dana have my back, and UFC having my back, and be where I want to be, and being a world champion again, and that's facing against Rashad Evans. I mean, he's former light heavyweight world champ, and so am myself, and I see some mistakes in his game, and he thinks I have mistakes in my game, but on Saturday night we're going to prove and see who's the best man with my hand raised.
Rashad, question for you, if I could. It seems like you have a lot to lose in this. Tito has won one fight in 5 years, and you were recently a champion, and you're taking a fight where he doesn't have a lot to lose, and you seem like you do. And so, does that add any pressure, or does that affect you in any way?
No, I think we both have the same amount to lose. I mean, the truth of the matter, what it comes down to, no matter what happens after this fight, the bare essentials is this right here. Neither of us want to lose to the other person, and when it comes down to that, nobody wants to lose a fight. And whatever happens after that, happens after that. But for the most part, he doesn't want to get whooped by me, and I don't want to get whooped by him. So when it comes down to anything to lose, we both got the same thing to lose. We both don't want to lose.
Tito, what's your response to that?
I don't think about losing. I mean, you say over the last 5 years, go look at those matches. Tell me which ones I truly lost besides, Machida and Hamill. I lost some close matches. And, I come back after injuries I did. Athletes don't come back and compete the way I compete. I have some great things to achieve in this world, and I'm not done yet. I want to show everybody in this United States and the world in general that you're able to compete no matter what surgery you have done, and I'm going to prove it on Saturday night.
And Dana, just if you can react to that, especially from Tito's standpoint, since he had the upset win over Bader, is it kind of weird to you that theoretically he could get a title shot being 2-4-1 in his last 7 fights?
Yeah, well, that remains to be seen. We'll see what happens in the fight. There's no doubt he's the 1 contender. He's been sitting out for a long time. We were very fortunate that Tito stepped up and took this fight. Tito went in and beat who many believed was the 7 ranked guy, this young up-and-coming light heavyweight, and it put Tito back on the map.
I don't really study footage of fighters, and I just work on my own thing and bring my own game into the fight. I'm not really too worried what he's gonna bring.
I say it all the time. Joe Silva's the best matchmaker in combat sports, period. And he gets out there, and when stuff starts falling apart, he's really the guy that's got to deal with that, not me. But as far as this fight goes, obviously, Pyle and McDonald, two tough, gritty, up-and-coming guys. McDonald has won. He's actually finished 10 of his last 11 opponents. And like I said, there's a lot of hype around this kid right now, but we're going to find out how good he really is going up against Pyle. Pyle's been on a run, and he's told me personally, this is my time right now in the UFC. This is my window. I'm taking this and going all the way to the top, so we'll find out Saturday night. And then Akiyama versus Vitor Belfort. I love watching Akiyama fight. This guy comes to fight. He brings it. And when the gentleman asked him earlier, about losing his first couple fights in the UFC and compared to his record, if you look at the fights that Akiyama fight, they were barn burners. I mean, I think his last 3 fights, he's won fight of the night. Is that right, Joe? Yeah. Fight of the night, his last 3 fights. So this guy comes to fight, he brings it, and I think that his style matches up great with Vitor Belfort. I think that Vitor's incredibly talented, has great hands, and Akiyama's going to make him use him on Saturday night. And then Rashad and Tito. Rashad's been waiting for a while to get a fight here, You know, you want to talk about a string of bad luck. His has been a lot worse than mine has. He's, you know, every time he's had a fight, his guys got injured or he's got injured, and he's been sitting out for like a year and a half now. And Tito's popularity has never been bigger. Tito hasn't been this popular since 2003. You know, a lot of people that thought he was going to get finished by Bader, he came in and pulled off the huge upset. You know, and I think a lot of people have gotten behind him and are excited about his resurgence here. So we'll see what happens on Saturday. Tito catapulted himself back up into the top 10 and stepped up on short notice and took this fight with Rashad Evans, which I give him a lot of credit and respect for. Yep.
Yeah, Dana. You know, UFC gets great responses wherever it goes, anywhere around the world, but UFC 101, when you came to Philadelphia for the first time, can you kind of talk about the response that you got here then and what you expect on Saturday?
Yeah, no, it's great here. The thing that I love about Philly, and Greg said it before, this is a fight town. You know, Philly's famous for being a huge fight town. Some of the best boxers and fights have happened here in Philly, and I always say I'm proud to be the guy bringing big fights back to Philly. And the response here is always awesome. The last show that we had here was incredible. We had a blast, and we expect the same on Saturday night.
Hey, Mike. Dana said, you know, he alluded to the fact that you told him this is your time now. Being 35, you've been in this sport for a long time. Why do you think that this is your time now? Why has it taken until 35 to get here?
You know, I've been asked that question a lot. I guess I'm a late bloomer. I'll take that though. I'm healthy. I'm healthier now than I ever have been. I think due to my fighting style, I don't really get into a lot of rock'em sock'em robot type fights. You know, so I don't have a lot of years, if you will, on me because of that reason. You know, I can't give you an answer why, but I can give you an answer that I'm going to be held to deal with now at 35.
And Rory said that he doesn't really pay attention to the guys that he's fighting or look at tape of them or something of that nature. Is that a mistake in your opinion?
What he thinks doesn't matter to me. You know, when we get in there and we start, finding that rhythm of the fight, he'll find he won't be able to hang with my rhythm. So that's it.
And can you kind of give your impressions of his overall development as a fighter? He's obviously impressed a lot of people so far.
He's definitely an impressive fighter, no doubt about that. I'm in the UFC. We're both in the UFC. We're fighting in the UFC Saturday night. Both of us are going to be tough, no doubt about it. There's no slackers in UFC. You're always tested when you're fighting anyone in UFC, whether it's their first fight in UFC or if it's their 10th fight in UFC. You're always going to be tested, and I look forward to this test. I'm really anxious about it. It's a great matchup. He's got skills. I got skills. Let's put it together and let's make a show.
For Vitor, you were so excited and ready for your last fight against Anderson. Didn't turn out the way you want to, obviously. Can you talk about putting that fight behind you and preparing to move on?
Yesterday is a canceled check, tomorrow is a promissory note, and today is cash on hand. I'm in Philly. I'm so excited. I trained so hard. I feel like I evolved so much. I was part of the sport in the past. I'm part of the present, and I'll make sure I'll be part of the future. So my job is to fight. I'll bring Saturday a very tough fight.